A credible insider is saying that Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be releasing in 2024, that Cuba is going to be part of the game, and that there's going to be some sort of time jump or time travel. We'll be talking about all of that in this video today and a whole lot more. So let's just jump straight into the source because it was actually a new one for me. This is coming from YouTuber and insider Tyler McVicker. I'll leave a link to his channel and his page in the description. And Tyler has a long backstory of having credible information before it's made public. A lot of information having to do with Valve titles and even Cyberpunk info that has been correct, leading up to various reveals like at the PlayStation Showcase and other events where video games are typically shown off. So this guy has a history of having correct information, and he was basically doing a live stream Q&A, and someone asked him about Grand Theft Auto 6, and this is what he had to say.
Bonnie and Clyde, thank you. So it's like we already know how GTA 6 is gonna end. Spoilers! Bonnie and Clyde, back in like the 30s, died in a blaze of gunfire. It's not 3 playable characters, it's 2 playable characters. It takes place, it's like there's a time jump. It takes place in the Miami, Florida area, but then also part of Cuba. It's about the drug trade, it's about bank robbing, blah, there you go. It'll be out in 2024.
So, although he doesn't have any track record with Rockstar, he basically mentioned 3 things here. Number 1, Cuba is going to be part of the game. Number 2, that there's going to be some sort of time jump. And number 3, it's going to be coming out in 2024. Now, he also talks about the ending of the game as well, and we'll talk about that as sort of a last little side nugget. So let's start with the Cuba part first. We know that the game is going to be taking place in Vice City, which is fictional Miami and its surrounding areas, which is Florida. To give you a quick geography lesson, Cuba is very close to Florida. I think it's only about 90 miles away. So I don't know how Rockstar would show that on a map, but you would assume it would be relatively close. It wouldn't be somewhere that you would have to travel for hours away. You could simply hop on a plane or go by boat and be there relatively quickly. So just from a location point of view, it would make sense to be in the game. The second thing that makes sense about this is it almost seems like Rockstar has been prepping this with various prototypes over their last couple of games. Let's go back to Red Dead Redemption 2. For those of you guys that didn't play Red Dead Redemption 2, in the 5th chapter of the game, the Vanderlyn gang is actually shipwrecked on an island called Guarma. And this honestly looks like it was a prototype for Cuba in Grand Theft Auto 6. It is a sprawling tropical island with all sorts of wildlife that you don't see in the main world and in the main story of Red Dead Redemption 2. And Rockstar actually had big plans for Guarma. It was supposed to be a whole explorable map with secrets and cool unlockables. I'm not sure why this part of the game was cut, but it was intended to have a way bigger impact. In fact, you were actually able to purchase a ticket to revisit Guarma in the epilogue. So you definitely would have been able to go back there and explore it, but Rockstar just sort of kept it for one part of the story, and you were landlocked during that one part of the chapter. And then a couple years later, we saw this in Grand Theft Auto Online when Rockstar released the Cayo Perico heist update, which was a map expansion in online. It was a small tropical island where El Rubio's compound was, and it also featured this tropical setting, and it kind of gave off a Cuba-esque vibe to it. So it wouldn't be surprising if Rockstar was going to use Cuba just like how they used North Yankton in GTA 5. It might be used for a few story mode missions or to provide some context, and hopefully we'd be able to go back there and explore it in some way, shape, or form, because it could offer more variety in terms of landscape, wildlife, etc., that we wouldn't necessarily get in Vice City and its surrounding areas, which would, of course, just be Florida. So that's the first thing he talked about. And Cuba also would kind of make sense with the drug trade as well. You could obviously have gangs from Cuba, gangs from Florida, and there's a lot of different things that could happen with those two different countries and those obviously two big different cities in the game. So the drug trade aspect of that could also work really well. Now, this could also tie in to a time jump of some sorts. Now, Jason Schreier, back in the summer of 2020, had an article that came out basically outlining a lot of the things we know about GTA 6 to this day, that it's going to feature multiple protagonists, and he confirmed that the game is going to be set in modern times, but he couldn't write off any flashbacks. So maybe Cuba is associated with some of the flashbacks that we have. We obviously don't know the origins of our main characters, Jason and Lucia, but there's a chance that one of them could have a past or could have a history in Cuba. Or just in general, it might not necessarily have anything to do with that. We're transported back to when they were younger, or possibly how they got their start in the crime world. So we could see something like that. Again, very similar to what we saw in Grand Theft Auto 5 or even Red Dead Redemption 2, where the game starts kind of at an earlier on phase, and then very quickly we get into the main action where it's Michael, Trevor, and Franklin in present day. And then shifting gears and talking about the release date, 2024 would of course be incredible. That's something we've been discussing over the last couple of days, really since Take-Two Interactive's earnings call. Again, they're the parent company of Rockstar Games. They talked about how they are anticipating a huge spike in income in the 2024-2025 years. And really, the only game that's capable of accomplishing something like that would be Grand Theft Auto 6. So we know it's going to be coming 2024-2025. He might be right with 2024, but of course, Rockstar has the ability to delay that title pretty much whenever they want. And last but not least, he talked about the ending because of what we know happened to the real life Bonnie and Clyde. And even though the game might be based off of Bonnie and Clyde, how it's going to be about robbing banks and the drug trade and this, male-female duo, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're both going to die at the end of the game. There's a chance that maybe you can only save one of them, like you either get to play the rest of the game as Jason or play the rest of the game as Lucia. But I wouldn't imagine Rockstar would kill off both of its main characters, because then who would you play as? Or maybe there's something where Jason and Lucia, they are romantically involved with each other. Maybe they have a child, so if they do both die at the end of the story, pure speculation, you would play as either the son or daughter of Jason and Lucia. And then that would be sort of your even further time jump, because obviously you wouldn't play as them as like a 4-year-old. That wouldn't make for a very fun Grand Theft Auto game. So who knows? There's a lot of different things he talked about here. He does have a lot of credibility. So that's where I'm going to leave the discussion up to you guys. What do you think about this info from Tyler McVicker? Do you think Cuba is going to be a big part of the game? Do you think there's going to be a time jump? When do you think it's going to release? And what do you think about the ending? I'd love to hear from you guys in those comments down below. If you guys did go on to enjoy this video, though, a like rating would, of course, be awesome. And be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new. You want to stay up to date on all the latest GTA and all the Rockstar Games videos that I'll be doing here on my channel. And be sure to ring that notification bell as well. Sometimes YouTube just doesn't work, and if you ring that bell, you'll always be guaranteed to be notified when new videos arrive. But of course, as always, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.